Hello my friends, I'm Rick and this is Yours a Seat at the Table, and we are looking at first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. This is the last book of the first edition stuff that I still have, and one of my fonder ones. I've always had a thing for the Asian cultures, and for because this is about as far away from the Midwest as you can get, and so when this came out, I was really enthused to have it. And the Dungeons & Dragons had put out a box set for, I don't know if it was Oriental, what the box set name was. And for whatever love of reason, I didn't buy it when it came out, which I can't remember why. But I was always fascinated by things like the ninja, obviously, and samurai, and so on and so forth. So this book came out in 97, 98. Oh, still got this great map, right? So I paid about $15 for this at the time. This is more like a wall map poster, isn't it? And a map. It's some big honking city. No, what is it? And it doesn't. Oh, Ravensbluff. Well, shoot, this don't even belong in here. This is Ravensbluff. I had a Ravensbluff source book and player's pack. Came in a box set too. I don't have the box anymore. I don't know if I have all the stuff with it at all. Anyway, so this thing came out in 1985. So this was not by no means the last book for the first edition. The Dragonlance source book come out 2 years later, but this one here came really opened some windows for some different stuff. So we get into player creation, character abilities in relation to this type of games parameter. It was also about this time we start seeing, like in Forgotten Realms, they added the far eastern civilizations to the possibility for places, and there was a couple of stabs at modules and things for that, but they didn't take off as much as the traditional Western style of stuff, which is why we don't see as many of them. There's a couple other game systems out there that were out about in the 80s. That were put out by, well, struggling to think off the top of my head, of Iron Crown Enterprises. I think did one that was heavily onto Asian themed role-playing games, and once again it was something I didn't get, and I kind of wish I had, but at that time it was already getting harder to find, and we didn't have the advantage of going on to eBay like we do today, or Amazon like we do today. So Oriental races, spirit folk, Oriental classes, the Oriental barbarian, the Boucher, are masterless warriors, men without ties, that'd be Ronin. The Kensei, which means sword saint or sword master, usually applied to characters that perfect the art of fighting with the sword. And Oriental and D&D, this is broadened and include most any type of weapon or fighting skill. So the monk and the Oriental monks are distinctly different from the Western monks when it comes to a number of aspects. The ninja, of course. Can't have Oriental adventures without the ninja. The samurai. I have played a number of ninja characters over the years, and I have had a couple players that played them too, and they're quite a challenge. They're quite interesting, especially the real challenge is to stay true to the philosophy and worldviews of how ninjas are supposed to, how we tend to view them in our literature, right? It's my opinion anyway. The Sekunje, or wandering priest or monk, basically their version of clerics. And then there's where is it? The Sohai. The Sohai are warrior monks, religious soldiers who protect large monasteries, and Yakuza, obviously their version of the rogue. Right, so we got characters, multiple attacks, dual classes, families, clans, and case. How your birth rank plays a role, family structure, additional family structures, ancestry, master family chart, whole chapter on honor. Honor was something you actually tracked and kept you kept up with how your character was perceived by other people, and it did have some ups and downs. So money and equipment. So we give ourselves an Oriental equipment guide, which is awesome stuff. I really enjoyed playing in these settings, to be honest. Oh yeah, nice stuff. All right, armor. Chapter on proficiencies, weapon proficiencies, weapon specialization, non-weapon proficiencies, artisan proficiencies, barbarian proficiencies, common proficiencies, court proficiencies, the Sajuka spells. So some of the spells are quite normal for what we're used to, and then there's some inclusions of some that are distinctly Asian, and mostly in their concept of what they do and how they operate. You know, and some of those were renamed and carried over into later game systems because they became pretty popular. It's just the way it is, right? So quite a few pages on spells. 7th level, 1st level. Now we get into 1st level. Let's see. A version of the Drudaic spells, Wujin spells. Right? Or the sorcerer, I guess, depending on how you look at it. 3rd level. Level. We got combat proficiencies. What we got here? Combat. So we have a modified set of rules and updated rules for combat. It's also working on the assumption maybe you don't have some of the core books. You know, if for all intents and purposes, this would be the Oriental version of the player handbook, and you wouldn't need the regular handbook if this is what your intention was, just to play in this setting with this set of mechanics and rule sets that we're sitting here and putting down, and you know, a bit more on the personal combat. Principal methods: kicks, locks, movements, special maneuvers, creating a style, push, strike, throw, vital areas, weapon breaker, weapon catchers, mental and physical training, learning martial arts, events and encounters, the Celestial Emperor and the Celestial Bureaucracy, or Oriental gods and deities and demons and creatures that are distinct for their culture, treasure and magical items. Right? So, there you have it. Oriental Adventures. It's a good book. I found it to be useful. There's a lot of great material in there. It helps for the setting. I don't know how it would be perceived today's culture, but I think it's acceptable. There's nothing, I don't know, disparaging in here as far as I'm concerned. If you get a chance to get your hands on a copy of this, by all means do so. I mean, I really, if you like that kind of, if you're big on that kind of environment and settings, this is a great guidebook for that. And I can't honestly say that I know that in later versions of Dungeons & Dragons, if they ever reprinted a newer version of this for the newer rule sets. As far as I know, they didn't. I learned to convert things from 1st edition and 2nd edition into 3rd edition, because 3rd edition became my go-to for probably 30 years of my 40-odd years of gaming when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons. I mean, it is what it is. So, hey guys, hope you guys have yourself a great weekend. Till next time.
Going on, my friends, this is Rick, and hey, if you like the channel, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, tell your buddies, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell anybody else that's in the gaming industry or gaming